I'm honored to be here at the 4th annual Plains Reunion. I didn't make it last year. I actually got an eye infection and I couldn't travel. It was uncomfortable. I did come in to do a video, and I appreciate you setting that up, Larry. I want to thank Larry and Kathy, and if there's other names that I'm missing, I apologize, that put this together. I'm honored to be here. Before I get just into my remarks, you said a couple things, Larry, that really resonated with me. You talked about family, and we are family here at WHCA. Anybody that was in the unit, when I was in the unit, my command philosophy was the 5 F's, and the first one was family. And you always take care of your family. You don't want to be the only one at your retirement ceremony because you neglected your family. And so it's important to take care of your family. And I appreciate you saying that, Larry. It resonated with me. I'll also share that my grandmother, her name was Owita Black. When we'd go visit her and we'd leave Beatrice, Alabama, population less than 150, when we'd leave and back out of the carport, she would always say, "Stick together, stick together." And that's something that you said, Larry, that also resonated with me. And she said it just like that, with that southern accent and twang. And then she'd also say, "I'll see you on the first." And that meant the first opportunity. And so I will see you on the first. I try to make sure that I make that happen on that first opportunity. I can't make all opportunities. I do get around. It's important to me. And so I will see you on the first opportunity. Now, WHCA's been at this a long time. We started with Guardian, FDR, making sure that he could talk to Churchill through the war. Then General Truman, kept it plain. Providence, Eisenhower, wanted lines of to be able to communicate in Normandy and to the Oval. Lancer, Kennedy, it needed us for Camelot and for the Cold War. And then after that came Volunteer, Johnson, who always leaned on WHCA to rally the team. And Searchlight, Nixon, who needed us bright enough to reach China. Passkey, Ford, made sure every door opened. And then Deacon, we're right here in Deacon's area. Carter had us right here in Plains, Georgia. And the Camp David Peace Accords that happened on his watch. Then came Rawhide, Reagan, riding tall. Timberwolf, George H.W. Bush, holding steady. And then Eagle, Clinton, soaring across the global stage. Trailblazer, George W. Bush. We ensured that he could execute his role as president from the White House to Crawford and to the Olympics in Beijing and everywhere in between. And whether it was the Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo, Norway, or Wi-Fi on the basketball court, we provided coverage and connectivity for Renegade, Obama. And then Mogul, never tolerated static. We carried on our tradition when Celtic, Biden, moved back from the Naval Observatory to 18 acres. And now we're doing it again, ×2 with Mogul in the office for his second term. Now those code names, I mean, they may sound like a Tom Clancy novel, but the reality is WHCA never missed a beat. No matter the president, no matter who, or no matter the place, we made sure that the lines were secure, reliable, clear, resilient, and the message always got through. And the voice of the president carried across history. Now, I just want to say good morning, to White House Signal Corps, White House Signal Detachment, White House Army Signal Agency, and the brothers and sisters of the White House Communications Agency, aka WHCA. It's a true honor to be here with you in Plains, home of President Carter, or Deacon. When we talk about WHCA's mission, the voice of the president, we can't help but think about President Carter. From Plains to Camp David, aka Shangri-La, to the Oval Office, to peace negotiations in the Middle East, he relied on us, or you, to make sure his voice carried across the nation and around the world. Now let's just be honest. I mean, Plains is more than just a town. It's a reminder that the presidency doesn't always begin in Washington, D.C. Sometimes it starts right here in a small southern community where neighbors know your name and values run deep. And that's fitting because WHCA is the same way. We are the same way. We've operated on 18 acres behind the White House gates, but it's always about community and shared values and about mission that's bigger than ourselves. Now the mission, it is serious and demanding. You know the saying, no fail environment. That wasn't just a motto, it was a reality. It is a reality. We didn't get a second chance. Whether it was a secure call with a head of state, a live presidential address, a crisis unfolding in real time, a natural disaster, or everything in between all of those, failure was never an option. I remember over and over hearing, you're only as good as your last trip. And wasn't that the truth? You could hit a home run 10 times in a row, but if you struck out once, that one stuck. That was the standard. And really, speaking of standards, we live by another phrase. The standard is the standard. No shortcuts, no excuses. Every single detail mattered. When the boss, the President of the United States, picked up the phone and stepped up to the microphone or came to a camera, to a VTC, the world had to hear him clearly. And think about it. The next voice you hear will be that of the President, or ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States. That was a slogan. It was not a slogan. That was a sacred responsibility. And I'll just digress a minute from my notes here. I mentioned to some folks, we watch the news. I know I watch the news in a whole different light today because of my time at WHCA. Right. And I think that you guys do too. We know what's going on behind the scenes. Just recently here at UNGA, teleprompter, I'm sure I don't have any hair, but if I did, it would be raising up. It did raise up. I did reach out to Kevin Childs, on that because I just wanted to make sure, one, that he was okay and that WHCA was okay. But we watch the news in a whole different light. Let's talk about the people. Selectively manned, best of the best. That's what you are. WHCA was never about numbers. It was about people. We were selectively manned. Every soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, Coast Guardsman, government civilian contractor that was assigned, they were screened, vetted, and chosen for what they could bring to the mission. And that meant that we had to be the best of the best. And we proved it in jungles, deserts, mountaintops, hotel ballrooms, Air Force One cabins, Marine One, Situation Room, the pyramids, Iraq, Afghanistan, Ukraine. We proved it. And there's many that I just didn't list. But those are examples. We were trained, we were sharp, we were fit to fight. We dressed the part too because WHCA always said dress for success. And success wasn't optional, it was demanded. And then when that 1 year mark came, we completed honorable service in direct support of presidential duty. We earned that PSB, or the Presidential Service Badge. Not just a piece of metal, but a lifetime reminder that we had served at the very tip of the spear, serving at the pleasure of the President of the United States. And I think we've got a PSB number of 2,000 something here, right? What is your number, sir?
2162.
2162. And mine is 23257. And they're up around 40,000 now. And so for a long time, people have been serving at the pleasure of the President. Now the culture, one team, one fight. Let's talk about culture. Some of you worked at DCOU, DCAU, DCSU, Signal, Carswell, Luke, Camp David. Later members wore the PCC patches of the Wolfpack, the Road Dogs, the Black Sheep. Yet others worked in J-Staff offices. And today they work in what's called Enterprise Technology Directorate, Enterprise Services Directorate, PCC or Presidential Communications Command, Visual Information or VIC, Special Missions Command or CAMP. But in reality, we're always one team. Yeah, there were some rivalries and some bantering, but absolutely there were those. But when it came to execute, it was seamless. You guys were seamless. We had a saying on every trip: the way we came on this trip is the way we leave. Everyone accounted for, all gear inventory and stored, and job is done, and on to the next. That was discipline. That was pride. That is WHCA. And how many times did we hear or say it ourselves? Let's do this. Those three words could launch a deployment, set a motorcade in action, begin an Air Force One mission, and every time we knew the outcome had to be the same. Mission complete, no issues. Sometimes the work was glamorous, summits, ceremonies, historic speeches. Other times it was a down and dirty, no notice, lugging cases and running cable and working through the night so that the magic could happen in the morning. But whether it was glamorous or gritty, we, WHCA, always delivered. Now, presidential customer service. We also learned something unique. We didn't just deliver comms, we delivered presidential quality. Presidential quality is something we say a lot. That's a phrase that stuck with me because when the president looks at you and when the commander-in-chief relies on you, he expects flawless service delivered with confidence, professionalism, and discretion. And you all did that. We did that. That was our calling card. That's why at the end of so many missions, we could look at each other and say, bravo, job well done. Now back to Plains and the Carter legacy. And we're back here in Plains. President Carter understood people. He valued integrity, humility, and service. And he never forgot where he came from. And neither should we. Think of what WHCA enabled for him. His fireside addresses, his talks on energy policy, his calls with world leaders, his role in the Camp David Peace Accords, the voice that carried the hope of peace in the Middle East. That was amplified by us, WHCA, the voice that challenged the nation to face realities. That was carried by WHCA, the voice that comforted Americans after crisis. That was supported and carried by WHCA. When President Carter spoke, the world listened. And they would listen clearly because of us, because of WHCA, because of you. And in closing, the standard lives on. You know, friends, alumni, family. Here's what I want to leave you with. The mission hasn't changed, okay? The environment hasn't changed. It's still no fail. It's still about the voice of the president. And we are still the best of the best. And for all of us, whether you served in the days of rotary phones, digital comms, or whether you hauled switchboards or encrypted satellites, your service lives on. The stories, the sweat, the discipline, the excellence, it all adds up to legacy that is never going to fade. So let's honor that legacy today and in this reunion. Let's celebrate what it means to be selectively manned, to earn that PSB, that Presidential Service Badge, and to live in that no-fail environment, and still come out smiling. Let's take pride in being a part of the White House Signal Corps, the White House Signal Detachment, the White House Army Signal Agency, the White House Communications Agency, aka WHCA. Let's remember that when we said, let's do this, we always meant it. And when we said mission complete, no issues, we always delivered. Because the truth is simple, WHCA is not just a chapter in our careers. It's a brotherhood, it's a sisterhood, a family, and together we are still one team, one fight. Okay, thank you.